everybody, this is MD Anderson, and today I thought I would do a little episode about a how-to video. I've been to a few people's houses, and sometimes you just get there and you just don't want to sit down. Or you just don't, or they offer you something to eat and you look around and you realize, I don't know if this is exactly sanitary. So you have to politely decline. So today's video is of course mostly dedicated to the men out there, the single ones. And it's about how to do your dishes. There are a few things that you actually do need in order to have a clean kitchen. And you do want a clean kitchen because you are going to cook there, which is what you are going to eat from. So if that's dirty, you can guarantee the rest of your food is going to be disgusting. So a few things that you need to do dishes properly. Quite often, people just use a rag. I really enjoy these because they get way down in the bottom of the cups and they scrub and they clean and they do a very good job. The other thing you can't forget is soap. This one happens to be Ajax, Joy, Palmolive, anything. If it says dish soap, it's good to go. All right, so make sure you at least use these few items. If you have greasy things, and I do have some grease things over here to show you, this stuff actually chemically interacts with the grease to get it clean. As well, start with hot water. If you know anything about chemistry, when you add the heat, it speeds up the molecules. And that's what creates the reactions. So that's why you need the soap and hot water. Cold water just won't cut it, especially the grease. You have something called viscosity. Like if you have butter and you leave it out on a warm day, it starts to drizzle and melt. Versus if you leave it out on a cold day or put it in the fridge, it's hard as rock. That is the viscosity based on the difference of the temperature. So now you know why you need to have the soap and hot water. So I've already got hot water running to my sink. I'm going to show you how to do it by hand if anything else. So I start filling up. First thing I do is small silverware. And of course, knives. I do that first because as the water is still shallow, it's much easier to see the knives. Last thing you want to be doing is cutting your hands up because you filled the whole sink full of water and you can't see the bottom of it anymore. Of course, don't be shy on the soap. I also like to put a little bit on my scrubber. And then, first things I try to clean, of course, is the knife. There we go. Now I've got lots of hot water. Also, the heat sterilizes the knife. So that way if there's any germs that you may have missed with the soap or the scrubbing, at least the heat can take care of the rest of it. And another thing I've experienced is somebody gets out their clean dishes from their cupboard. And it's covered in soap. That's disgusting. You try to eat off that and all you taste is bubbles. I mean, if you're going to be outside blowing them in the wind and stuff, like that's cool, okay? But when you're going to be putting that in your body, the soap in this acts like a laxative. In other words, you won't be able to hold it all in when you need to. It doesn't help your digestive system to have all that extra soap and suds going through it. So that's why I try to keep the hot water running. Plus, if you turn the water off, if you're in a cold climate, the water inside the pipes gets cold again. So I just do a little bit, let the sink gradually fill up as I'm doing all the small stuff first. Alright, so that should be all my silverware. I may have missed one or two back here. Next thing I go for is usually the more clean bowls or food storage dishes. And I try to save the dirtiest for last because I want to keep this basin water fairly clean as I am going through the process of all the different kinds of dishes. But I tend to eat cereal and there's a milk residue, and as soon as I'm done eating, I will rinse out the bowl so that I know I don't have to clean up milk. Dried milk is horrible to clean up. Yeah, the dried milk, it kind of crusts the bottom of the cup, and it's just not fun to deal with. So you have to fill the cup halfway up with water, let it soak for a few minutes, and it just takes all your time when you could have got something else more productive. So It's easy to do those little things as they come along instead of trying to do all the little things all at once. And then you have to do more work. And when it comes to dishes, I'm not about doing additional work if I don't have to. Okay, a couple cups. Cups are usually pretty clean, and you can start with those as well. Because most of the time they're just, for me, they're just water, or very rarely a juice, or like I said, the milk. But I make sure I rinse out my milk cups. Like I said, the scrubber, it gets way down. I like this transparent cup. It gets way in there, and you can see how it scrubs right on the bottom. So if you do let something dry up at the bottom, this little edge here cleans it out really nicely. Yeah, look at that. A lot of room to spare. If you just go with the sponge, you're going like this, and you miss about that much at the bottom of it. So having the right tools makes the biggest differences. If you can, make sure that you get prepared. When you go through the goal process, that's step 6, research, study, learn, prepare. So if you're not prepared, you're aiming yourself towards failure. If you notice, I've taken this and I sat it in the water. That's my deep fat fryer pan. It pulls out the food so I don't have to reach in the hot oil with my hand and try to get it out of that scalding oil. And that is what's covered in the grease. So you can see how the soap has already taken that down, broke down the oils on the inside of it. But because it's oils, you really want to scrub it good. And this is the lid. So you can see how crusted over, there's a nice film layer of oil residue on there. So we're going to let that kind of soak up that hot water for a little bit. Alright, this was the most dirty one. I made cream of mushroom soup in it. My kids and I love it. Whole mushroom. Oh, it was good. And you can kind of see there's still some yuck on the inside. If this isn't the last pot, I would normally move my water over to the next sink, try to scrub as much of it out as I could, and let it go down this other sink instead of it contaminating my basin water. However, you still need to put it in the basin water to let the soap do its job as well. So like I said earlier, clean those knives when the basin is still shallow. I knew this was in here, but because it was deeper water around, I missed it. So now I get a good scrub on it. And because it's been sitting in the hot water, this glass is nice and warm. And that, of course, made the viscosity of that oil thinner, allowing the soap to have a better interaction on it. So now you can see how much more clear it is. It's still wet, so there's a couple water spots on there, but you can see it's much better than it was before. In order to continue keeping a clean kitchen, of course, you drain the water. This is an amazing little tool, okay? As the water drains, it's going to fill up whatever gunk is in this sink. So you kind of leave it halfway in there, and it's going to catch any of the food debris that's draining out with the water. So then you take that and dump it into the garbage disposal. Another pet peeve is a dirty sink. How do you expect to clean good dishes if you have a dirty sink? Alright, now take my wash rag and I will clean down the sink. And where the dirty dishes were, it's going to be dirty as well. So you make sure you clean that up. Get the stove. Sometimes I even like to wipe down my fridge. Just yucky things doesn't make for a yummy kitchen. So when you take the extra 2 to 3 minutes just to do this, you end up with people who would enjoy coming to your place and getting something that you have made for them. That way, you feel happy and they feel happy that you had something good to share. So now, I hope you can all keep a clean kitchen, go through the goal process, and I'll see you later.